Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of AT Fins News. Today we're going to be breaking down the Miami Dolphins 20-9 victory over the New York Giants. So without further ado, guys, let's just get right into it, shall we? So we got to 5 wins in a row, baby. We're riding high on a 5 game win streak. I believe we have the second longest streak in the whole entire league, besides the New England Patriots, of course. So we're riding high. We started this winning streak. We were 1-7. Not a lot of people gave us any hope for the season. They were already calling for Brian Flores and Chris Grier to lose their job. But ever since that point, they've won 5 in a row, and they are 6-7. One game. They're on a bye week this coming week, of course, but they got one game in their way to get back to 500, and not many fans thought that was possible after what we were showing for the first 7 games of this season. So if we look at the stats this game, just going over it real quick, Tua Tua had an all right game. Even after the game, when he did his post game, he said his ball placement was a little off. There was a couple throws that were kind of inconsistent. They were a little high over like Gasecki. There was also a couple balls he threw that should have been caught. That one in particular, the Gasecki ball he threw, and it hit his helmet in the end zone. That's so uncharacteristic of Gasecki. He's one of our most sure-handed receivers, and he was kind of off as well. And then the Jalen Waddle drop that, you've seen how excited Tua got and was jumping up and down when Waddle missed that balls, because I mean, everyone's seen it. He probably would have split the two defenders with his speed, and he would have probably been off for either a big gain or a touchdown on that play. So there was a mixture between Tua being off a little bit in his ball placement, and then when Tua did throw nice balls, some of the receivers missed them. So that has to be cleaned up moving forward in order to keep this win streak going. But still, who would have thought? Like I said, from 1-7 to after our bye week, playing the Jets to getting to 500 with 3 games left to play. I mean, that's just an amazing job that our players didn't give up on the coaching staff. The coaches have gradually improved week in and week out. Our defense has finally found their identity of the blitz zero concept and putting pressure on the quarterback. We got rookies balling out here that we've never seen. As far as 3 rookies we drafted last year have been just completely balling for the last 4 or 5 weeks. I'm talking about Javon Holland, of course, our safety. We got Jalen Phillips coming to his own. Last week he had 3 sacks. This week against the Giants he collected another 2. So he actually has 8.5 sacks this year, and he actually broke Jason Taylor's record, which is hard to believe after how slow of a start he had, because the coaches weren't putting him in the right position. They had him covering the flat routes instead of pass rushing like he should be doing at all times. So it's good to see them actually putting players in the right position to succeed, and you just got to love to see it, man. So if you look at Tua's stats, he was 30 for 41. He threw for 244 yards, which isn't bad. He had 2 touchdowns. I love to see the no interceptions. So I mean, even though he's even said he was feeling a little off out there, he had a solid game, man. He played complimentary football. He didn't put our team in position to lose the game. He was part of the reason why we won, as well as this defense just being dominant. And the thing about the defense as well, a side note, is that we got to kind of clean up our communication on the back end, because there was a couple plays that if Mike Glennon would have put the ball in a better spot, they had our man beat, because they were trying to communicate before the play and they'd get confused. The one in particular was the Nick Needham, when he was talking to, I believe it was Byron Jones. They were trying to communicate. The snap went off, and the 2 players took one receiver, and then Nick Needham said, "Oh shoot!" He tried to run back after, I believe it was Ingram, and it was just a bad throw by Mike Glennon. But if they would have completed that on the run, it was to the house. It was a touchdown, but it was a little offline, and Nick Needham kind of caught up, and they didn't get to make the play. And then on a couple other third down conversions, they could have had the catches, but the receivers dropped the ball, or Mike Glennon threw it too low or behind the receiver. So on defense, we do have to make sure on this bye week we fix those communication errors pre-snap. so we don't give up those big plays to better teams we face down the road this year. As far as Mike Glennon's day went, he was 23 of 44. He had 187 yards, so we pretty much shut him down. No touchdowns, of course, and one interception, so we got that turnover. As far as us, the biggest key to victory in my preview show was we had to contain Saquon Barkley. I know he hasn't been the same this year because he's been injured, but we did a really good job containing the Giants' run and making Mike Glennon beat us. If it wasn't for Saquon Barkley had a couple big runs in the game, so his stats look decent, but we did shut him down for the majority of it besides that big run. He had a long of 23 yards. So he carried the ball 11 times for 55 yards. So not too bad, but see, he had that, his longest run was 23 yards. So that was pretty much half of his yardage in the entire game was that one long run. And then they had Devontae Booker, of course, with 6 carries for 36 yards. So we did an excellent job stopping that run. And that's what I like to see about see on this defense now. Historically, the Dolphins were not good at stopping the run. They weren't physical up front on that line, on the defensive line, and they would get manhandled by lines. But I like to see them being able to stop the run this year, and it's only going to bode well for us later in the season when we do have to play, even though they don't have Derrick Henry, that the Tennessee Titans have a good rushing attack. And then at the end of the year, of course, facing the New England Patriots, we're going to have to be really physical up front to get a victory with them because they can pound the rock. Especially even if you look at if you've watched the game last night against the Bills. I know as Dolphin fans we're rooting for the Bills to win because of playoff implications, but just to see Patriots team go into Buffalo and only ask Mac Jones to throw the ball 3 times. And even though I know the weather conditions were horrible, but for them to only throw 3 times and be able to come out on a victory in this day and age is just, we're going to have to be real physical up front because Buffalo the Patriots were way more physical on the line of scrimmage than the Bills, and it showed in the game. In the entirety of the game, they made some stops here and there, the Bills D, but for the most part, they rushed for over 230 yards. So, I mean, we're going to have to be physical up front, which from seeing what we've been doing in the recent weeks, I don't think we'll have any problem, but they got to just show up and play their game, man. And as far as our rushing attack, it was pretty much non-existent the whole game. I mean, we had Myles Gaskin had 15 carries for 44 yards, only an average of 2.9, and then Salvon Ahmed had 8 carries for 23. So it was pretty much, that's why you see Tua having to throw 41 times this game because we had no semblance of the running game, which makes things difficult. But a bright spot is, of course, Jalen Waddle, man. He broke the rookie record set by Jarvis Landry this game. He had 9 receptions for 90 yards. He's continuing to ball out week in and week out, and we love to see it. And then Devontae Parker, it was nice having him back with that nice toe-tapping grab he caught at the end to pretty much seal the game. Well, to extend the drive, and then what sealed the game was the Gesicki. That was Tua's best throw of the day. It was tight coverage, and he threw it right over the defender and right into Gesicki's hands, and that was just a beautiful thing to watch. So, our receiving corps is led right now by a rookie, Jalen Waddle. I mean, he's phenomenal. We would like to see him more in that intermediate routes instead of quick slants, because my biggest fear is him getting hit too much and could lead to injury at the end of the year. So hopefully we can get him more in those intermediate routes because his speed is just, you can see it on the field. He's faster than everybody. I mean, he makes little plays. He can make these sudden moves, little jukes to put the defender on skates, man. So we got to keep feeding him the ball. He's only a few catches away from breaking Chris Chambers' rookie yards record. So that's going to be fun to watch. I believe he only needs like 30 to 40 yards. So he should be getting it against the Jets next game. So, I mean, he looks like the real deal for sure, man. And that leads to another thing. I mean, just 6 weeks ago, all of us, including myself, were calling for Chris Grier to get fired. But, I mean, if you look at how our rookie class is performing right now, just our 3 first-round picks, or 2 first-round picks, and then the Javon Holland the second round. I mean, they're all contributing at a high rate, and we've never seen it as Dolphin fans. Usually, the rookies we pick up, they don't have a huge impact on the season. They kind of slow play them, or they don't make a big impact. But those three have made the in the 30 years I've watched Dolphin football, those three rookies coming in, having at three different positions, being that dominant at each of their positions, we've just never seen it. And it's just great to see and watch them grow week in and week out. Um, and I think the sky's the limit for those three guys. I mean, Jalen Waddle will be a number one receiver in this league. Jalen Phillips will be a top five pass rusher, and Javon Holland will be a top five safety in this league. And that's without a doubt, just to see their development. I mean, the only thing I hope is they keep getting better week in and week out, for years to come. And I mean, we have players to build around, and that's just great to see. So going forward, I know we're on a bye week this week, so there won't be no preview video coming out, of the Dolphins this week. We get to actually sit back on Sunday and root against teams to help our playoff chances. And it's crazy to think I'm even talking about playoffs. Like I said, I pretty much called this season a wash after the 1-7, but let's just keep rolling, man. I mean, it all goes downhill if we even get one more loss. So they just got to take it a game at a time, and hopefully they can figure it out and just they can't overlook the Jets. That could be a trap game. They coming off a bye, feeling good about themselves, and then playing the Jets. Oh, we just got to show up. They have to come in with a consistent game plan. The coaches have to scheme up the game plan to I know it's, unless Zach Wilson something happens, I believe we're going to be seeing him in a couple weeks. So we're going to have to shut down that rookie. Hopefully we make him see some ghosts like Sam Darnold did for the Jets, and come out with that victory, man. So I'll be back, next week sometime to preview the Dolphin versus Jets. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy all the football games this the weekend. Thursday, it starts Thursday, and then on the weekend, and have a great weekend, y'all. And like always, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so we can grow this channel organically. And fins up, guys. I'm out. Peace. Love y'all.